Hello and welcome back. This is Code with SJM here, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you guys about how you are going to cover some of the key concepts that I believe will be useful for you as a Laravel developer to be aware of. And in today's video, as we remember, when Laravel 12 was released, it came up with 3 new starter kits that were introduced. So as you can see from here, this is Laravel hard. So you can see that these 3 main starter kits that you can find. So you can see we have the React starter kit, Vue starter kit, and Livewire starter kit. But also you are not limited to only the 3. You can also create the Laravel 12 application by using any custom starter kit that you may have. And from there, I'll be basing on Livewire starter kit on today's video. So on the next videos, maybe I'll be sharing about Vue, then React. So for now, I will be focusing on Livewire starter kit. So the main concept that I'm going to cover in this video will be as follows. So the first one will be on how you are going to create your Laravel 12 application and set it up by using Livewire starter kit. So that will be the first thing that we are going to cover. The second one will be how you are going to use email verification setup. So how you are going to enable it, because that is a built-in functionality of Livewire starter kit or Laravel in general. So here in the Livewire starter kit, I'm going to show you how you are going to do it smoothly, and then we are going to see on how you are going to enable the profile or image upload feature in your authentication system, so that when your users will be registering on your systems or log into your system, they can be able to update their profiles. So we can upload the profile images and they can be able to delete it or update it. So after that, we are going to see on how you are going to track your user activities. So means we are going to see how you can log the user activities of your system. After that, we are going to see on how you are going to be able to track sessions. So this is most important, because sometimes you may find that one of your users may be able to log in with multiple devices on the same system. So you can be able to manage those sessions from different devices, but by the same user. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then the next thing, I will show you how you are going to be able to do account suspension. So we'll see on how you can suspect one of the account of your users. And then the last but not least will be the how you're going to create the custom error pages. So for example, when you your user get a 404, so you can be able to create a custom page so the user can see a more user-friendly page rather than the default Laravel 404 error pages. So from there, those will be the key concept that we are going to cover in this video. So without wasting, alright. So as I've mentioned in my previous chapter, we need to be able to create our Laravel 12 application and then use any starter kit from the 3 starter kits that I've mentioned here. So for us to be able to do that, firstly we need to know that in order for you to be able to use the command line, you need to first install the Laravel installer. So you need to install it globally so that it can be available in your local machine, and then after that you can be able to run this command. So by running this command, which is Laravel new then the application name, this will prompt you by asking you which starter kit do you prefer. So after doing so, you will be able to create the application that you want by selecting the preferred starter kit, and then you will be prompted with other additional questions. After that, you can be able to have a new created Laravel 12 application by using the starter kit that you selected. So to do so, I'm going to show you how to do it. So because I've already installed this one, I'll just show you how to run this command. So first of all, I'll navigate to the place where I want to place my application. So this is my htdocs file directory, and then I'll open this new directory that I've created, which is empty as you can see. And then from here, I'm going to open the git bash, and then I'll zoom it a little bit so that you can see. And then from here, I'll run Laravel new, then my application name, which will be, let's say, email verification. So this is just testing. So after running that, it will prompt you with some of the questions, like which data kit do you prefer. So you can see from here, you will see, so you can choose the none, React, Vue, and Livewire. So by selecting those, you will be able to create the application that you want. So you can see if you select Livewire, then you will be asked the which authentication provider do you prefer. So most of the time you will work with the built-in authentication, but also if you prefer Wake OS, you can work with that one. So for now, I'll just use Laravel hard, so I'll just cancel this one because I don't want to create it on htdocs. So I'll cancel this one, and then I'll show you by using Laravel hard. So from here, when you visit the Laravel hard application, you have this option on sites. You can see we have the option to add the new site. So from there, when you click that, you will see you have to select when you need to create the new Laravel project, or you want to link the existing project. So I'll select the new Laravel project, and then I'll say next. From there, I can select the no starter kit, which is similar to the way the CLI that will be showing. So you can select the none, React, Vue, or Livewire, but also you have the option to create the Laravel application by using any custom starter kit of your choice. So for now, I'll focus on Livewire, so I'll select Livewire, and then I'll say next. And then from here, I'll give the application name. So I'll say Livewire starter kit mastering, and then I'll say built-in authentication. So here I will not use Laravel Vault, and then for testing I'll just keep the paste, and then I'll say next. So this will create our Laravel 12 application with the Livewire starter kit. So let's give it a time, and then when it will be done, we'll resume with the video. Okay, so now you can see our application was created successfully. So now let's close it, and now you can see this is our newly created application. So now you can visit the application by clicking that link, and then you can see this is our newly created application. You can see that is the link, and here you have the option to login or register. So first of all, I'll register here so that you can have the testing user. Okay. But basically, if we open up this on VS Code, so here you can see I can open this one on VS Code. So it will open up on VS Code directory, and after that we can start to code our application. So I want to migrate or to seed the default user. So you can see here we have this user that we can seed on our database, and basically now I'm using SQLite as my database. As you can see, this one will be the default database. So let's just run the PHP at SunDB seed so that we can see the testing user. So PHP at SunDB seed. So you can see this one will seed our testing user that I've shown you here. So this will be the testing user that will be created. So after that, I'm going to log in by using that account. So I'm going to go to login page, and then I'll use that email, and the password will be password. So it will be like this way, and then I'll log in. Alright, so now you can see this is a newly created Laravel 12 application by using the Livewire starter kit. So you can see this is how it looks like, and if you have never used it before, so this is how it looks like. You can go to settings. So from the settings you can change the theme of your application, you can update your user profile details, and also you can be able to update the password, and that's all the functionality here. So you can see you can update the profile, you can delete the account, password updates, so you can update your password if you want to change your password, but also you can update the theme of your application. So for example, right now this is on dark mode, and we can switch it to light. So you can see this is how it looks like on light mode. So you can switch back to dark mode, and I believe this one looks fine. So you can go back to dashboard, and this is how it looks like. So this is all about how you can set up your Laravel 12 application by using Livewire starter kit. So on the next session, I will show you how to set up email verification. Alright, so on the session of email verification, as you can see on the previous video, we were able to register a user by seeding that user on the system, but you can be able to register the user using the registration page, and the users can be able to log in as I've done by using this user. So on email verification, right now, if I go back to Laravel HUD and open the adminer, so this will help us to manage our database on the UI. So here I log in, so you can see this is the path to my database. So this will be the path of my database in my application. So you can see here the database is right here. So this will be the path that you should put it here. So this will be populated automatic if you just open it from here. Okay, and here you can see you are using SQLite 3. So I'll just click login, and you can see this is my table, and from the users you can see we have only one data. So you can see the number of rows here, and when you open it and select data, you can see we have this tested example user, which is our test user. Alright, but here you can see we have the field called the email verified at. So this user will be able to log in because this field is not empty. So when you want to enable the email verification, the first step is for you to enable the email verification on your user's model. So let's go to user model. I'll call this one. So from here you can see we have this class that is commented, so you just need to uncomment it, but then you need to extend or to implement that must verify here. So here you just say implements must verify. Okay, by adding that one means that all users of your system must verify, because this will have the middleware that will be checking if that user has already verified their emails or not. So it will check from the database, and if the field for email verification will be empty here, so it will enforce the user to verify their emails. So what will be done, the email will be sent to that specific user, and then that user will be required to authenticate, to verify their emails. So for now, if I log out and I try to create a new user with the real email, so let me try to use one of my testing email, so I'll just use this one, 74, and then I'll say just password, then I'll create an account. Okay, so this will be sending the email to my email. So you can see this will create the account successful. So now if we go back here and select again, you can see we have the new user, which is this one. But here on email verified at field, you can see it is null. So that's why you see our user has been directed to this page. So please verify your email address by clicking on the link we just emailed you. But remember, the email will only be sent if you have set up the email on your application. So if you go back here on .env file, you can see this is just a boilerplate of how your email setup should be. So we didn't set up any email, so I'll just show you how to update those data. So I'll just update with my configurations, and then you guys can be able to use it. So now I will just paste some of my configurations. Right, so I'll just use this one, but I will delete this this password on my Gmail, because I don't want anyone to mess up with that email. Okay, so after doing so, when you have this set up completely, you need to optimize your application. So I'll just run php at some optimize clear. So this will clear any configuration cache and anything that will not make this work. So after that, then the application will be able to run successful and send the email. So let's refresh again. And then we need to resend the verification email. So click resend. So you can see a new verification link has been sent to the email address you provided during registration. So now let's go to that email and check for that new email that was sent by your application. So you can see we have this verify email address. So you can see this is how the email will look like. So I will just click here verify email address. And then let's wait for it to open up the application. So now here we can be able to log in now. So it will be 74 here. Then I'll put my password. And now that's how easy you can just do the email verification setup. So now this user has been verified successful. So if we go back here on our database and refresh, now you can see we've verified our email successful. So that's how easy you can just do the email verification. So you just need to enable the email from the user here. So you just need to uncomment this one, then you need to implement this one, and then Laravel will automatically enforce any user that will be registered to be able to verify the email. But also remember to do the setup on the .env file. After that, the next step will be the profile image upload. So on the next session, I'll show you how to do that quickly. Alright, so on this session, we are going to cover on how you are going to allow your users to upload their profile images. So without wasting any time, let's log in with our user that we have created. So you can see we are able to log in successful. Let's go to the settings. Right, so from here on the settings, you can see we have these three sections or tabs, as you can call it on yourself. So here you see there is three links. So we have the profile, password, and the appearances. I've mentioned it before. So here on the profile, the user can be able to update their names, email, and delete the account. But I want to add here the ability for your users to be able to upload their profile images. So to do so, we need to edit this profile component. So as you can see from the code here, we have the component class. So when you go to settings, and here you can see we have the profile. So this is the one that is used to update the profile of your user. So you can see we have the email and name, which are shown here, and also we have the view that is using this component. So you can see from here, when you come to Livewire settings, then profile. So this is the page that is used to show the profile page. Okay, so after being able to see all of these fields, now I want us to be able to update the page to be able to update the profile images of our users. So to do so, I'll just edit, or I'll just paste some of my code. So it's just the updated version of this input just for image upload. So I'll just show you. So from here, I'll paste that code. So this will be the code that I'm going to paste here. So you can see I've just pasted the code from here up to here. So up to this field, because that is the field for image upload. So you can see from here, I have this if. I want to explain it in a moment. So for now, I will just comment this one, or let me just keep it. I can explain it from here. So you can see I've just copied this input, and then I've just changed the model and the label, and also here you don't need even to have the autocomplete, so you can just remove that one, and then this will be usable for file upload. So you can see here the type has been changed to file from text to file. After that, here I have an if condition. So this if condition will work when you have already updated the profile from here. So what we are going to do, first of all, you need to create the two public key properties. So the first one will be the image. So I'll just create the image, and then the second one will be the current image. So this one will be public key string. So it will be like this way. So it means that this can be able to be null. So it can accept the nullable value. So after doing so, here we need to initialize the current image. So current image with user's image. So from there you can see that this is not is currently not the field on our user's model. So what we need to do, we need to create a new model. So if you go to users table, you can see from here we don't have the image field. So to do so, we are going to create a new migration, or PHP artisan. Let me zoom a little bit so that you can see. So PHP artisan make migration. So this will ask you the name of your migration. So I'll say add image column users table. Okay, so that will create a new migration file, which is this one, and then from here I can be able to edit it. So here I'll store the string of one image, which will be in Laravel, and then here I'll keep this here. Let me put it here, and this will just work fine. So now let's drop that field if it exists. So this will drop that field if it exists, and then let's run the migration php @ migrate. So now this will create that field in our table. So now if we go back to our table here and refresh, so now we have the image column on our users table. Okay, after doing so, let's go back to our users model and add that in our fillable properties. So here you need to add the image. Okay, so this will add the image attribute. Okay, so after adding that, now we can be able to use that in our Livewire component here. So now when we will do this, then Livewire will fetch this image from the users model. So remember, this will be the current image path. So this stores the path, but this one stores the new uploaded image. Okay, so this will only be usable when you upload the new image, but this one will be storing the current path of your image. Okay, so after doing so, now when you go back to the profile here, if I refresh, now you can see we have this, which you can see this is just a placeholder that I've added. So you can see from here, when I go to the visit blade, so here I've just checked the following if conditions. So I've said if the image is available, so let's say for example the new image has been published, then we need to show the preview of that image, and we are using this temporary URL function which is available in Livewire. So you can just go to Livewire documentation and you will find this temporary URL. So this is usable when you want to show a preview of your uploaded image. So if the image is available, so when the new image has been uploaded, you will see the preview here. After that, else if the current image is available and we are going to check on our public disk if that current image exists. So by using this method, you can be able to see if that file or image exists in your storage. So before going any further, you need to create a symlink. So I'll just run this one. So php @ storage then link. So after running that, means it will create a symlink that will be usable for storage manipulations. Okay, so the else if here we'll check if this is set. So here you can see, so if this one will not be empty, means it will be found on users table, then we are going to check that URL by using this exit method, which will get the path and then it will go and check on the disk that you will pass here. So I'm using the public disk to store my images. That's why you see I've passed the public disk here. So if that will be true, if that condition will be true, then we are going to show the existing image. So you can see we are using the storage then URL. On that URL we are going to pass the current image, which will be found from here. Okay, so after that the else part will only work as a fallback. As a fallback to what? When all these two conditions will not be met. Okay, so when the image will not be uploaded, also the current image will be null. So when it will be null and this one will be false, means that we are going to show the fallback placeholder. So the fallback placeholder, I'm using this UI avatars API, okay, and then here I'm going to show the initials of my currently login user. So this initials is the function or method that is found on users model. So if you go to users model here, you will find that method here. So this is the method that I'm calling it, and I believe this is the one that is usable by this is DataKit 2. Okay, so after that, these are the initials that you see here. So you can see SM means is the initial for this name. Okay, so now after that, now we need to be able to upload our image to our database. So how we are going to do that means that when the user will select an image here, like this way, and then select any of the image. So for example, I can select any of the image, let's say for example this one. So here okay, so here you can see we got this error, as you can see, because we didn't add the with upload trait. So now you need to go back to the profile component here, and then from here we are going to say use with file uploads. So this is the trait, so you need to add this trait basically, because this is the one that allows you to upload the images in a Livewire. Okay, so after adding that, now if you go back here and you try to refresh and you try to upload the image that you want, so for example I can upload even any of these images. So now you can see this will be the preview of your image, but I believe this has happened because we didn't run the npm run dev. So now let's run the npm run dev, but let me run it on the other new terminal. So I'll just run npm run dev. Okay, after that, now let's refresh again. Okay, now let's try to upload any of the image. Okay, now you can see that is how the image will look like. Okay, but now we didn't add any validation for this image. We didn't add anything about uploading this image. So now even if you will try to save here, but this image will not be saved, because when you refresh, you will still see the initials. All right, so now let's work on how you are going to upload your image here on the background, because on the front end here on your blade view already we have added the field, we have added the preview, we have added to show the image if it's already uploaded, and the fallback key placeholder. So you can see that's how it looks like. So now let's start by working on our component here. Okay, so the first step that I'm going to take here is to add the validation for our new uploaded image. Okay, so to do so, I'm going to create something called the Livewire lifecycle hook. So I'm going to hook on the property image, so I'll show you how to do it. So it will be public key function updated image, and on that updated image I'm going to use the validate only, because I want only to validate the image. So when the property image will be updated, so anything will be changed. So for example, the image was uploaded, then I want to validate only that image. So I want to make it to be nullable. It should be image, and also you can put the maximum size of that image. So when this will be updated, then you want to validate it separately, and then after that here we need to see a way to upload our image. So this will be only if the image is uploaded or something is changing. So if something is changing on the image, then we are going to call this function to validate that property. Okay, after that here when you will see here down this function, you see we have this function called method called the update profile information. So when the user will click this save button, so this is the function that will be called. So when this function will be called, we need also to validate the image, because that's where the image will be validated, and after being validated they will be stored in this variable, and then after being stored here, then this will be the variable that will be used to fill our user, so that we can be able to save it. So actually that's why we need this one. So after adding that, now we are good, and then we can be able to do the manipulation of image upload. So to do so, we need to handle the image upload. So the first thing we need to check if the image has been uploaded or something has changed on our image. Then we need to be able to store our image, because already we did the validation here, but also we did here. So to do so, here we need to be able to upload the image. So I'll just go up to here, and then from here I'm going to say so I just want to say the current so here I want to say the new image path. So this will be equals to image, which is this one, which is our public property that we have defined here, which only stores the new uploaded image. And then we are going to call the store method or function, which accepts the name of the directory where you are going to store your images, and then the name of the disk that you are going to store your images. So I've just passed the profile images as my directory, and then we have the public disk. So after that, after uploading the new image, so after uploading the new image, now the next step will be to delete the old image. So here we will just say delete the old image if it exists. So what we are going to do, we are going to check if this current image exists, and then we are going to check from the storage. So we are going to say storage, then disk, then we are going to mention our disk name, which is public, and then we are going to use the exist method, and then from that exist method we are going to say this current image. So if that exists, then we are going to delete that image from the storage. So as you can see here, we are just going to say storage, then disk, which is our public key, and then from that disk we are going to delete. So we are calling this delete method, and then we are passing the name or the current image, because this is just carrying the current image path. Okay, so we are going to delete that image from the storage. So let me just import this class. So I'll just import the facade one, and then you can see, so this is the one that I've imported. So if you don't have a way to import, just write this one down, and then it will work just as fine. Okay, so now after deleting the image, the next step will be to update the validated image, because the validated image here, we need to update it to point to the new image path. So let's update that one. And also we need to update the current image, because we've already updated the image. So we are going to say this current image, then we are going to point to the new image path. So after doing so, this one will work fine. So we need to have an else. So if no any new image was uploaded when the user click this button, so this will happen only if the user click this one and nothing has been changed on this property, which is our field. So if user does not upload a new image, so we need to just update the validated image and point it to the current image. So because this one will only run if there is new uploaded image. So I believe this will work just fine. So now let's test it and see how it works. So now let's go back here, refresh. Now you can see this is how the profile looks like. Now let's try to upload the image, but before that let's try to save it before changing anything here. So save. Now you can see it has been saved, and it means that this was run and this one was not run. Okay, so now let's try to upload a new image. So let's upload any of these images. Let's upload this one. Okay, this says array to string conversion. So let's see this happens. So where, okay, so here I guess we need to change one thing here. So first of all, because we are validating one of the field, so we need to mention that field from here, and then here we can mention the rules. So this will be because this accepts the field rules, so we need to mention the field first. So I forgot to add that field here. So now let's try again. I believe this will work fine. And now let's upload an image. Now let's try. Yep, so now this works fine. And then after that, let's try to save it. So you can see saved. And now if we refresh again, now you can see still we have that image which is uploaded. Okay, now let's try to see on our database. Now you can see we have this profile images slash the name of your image. So it means that the functionality of image uploading is working fine. And from the storage, now you can see when you go to storage, app, then public disk, because that's where we store our images. And then from profiles, now you can see we have the image that we've uploaded. So now if we update the image, so for example, if we go back here and the user decided to change their images, let's say upload another image which is different. So for example, if they upload this one, all right, now you can see, so the image field must not be greater than this one. So this image actually is quite bigger. So let's change and find another smaller image. All right, so this works fine. Now let's save. Okay, refresh again. You can see the image is there. Refresh, you can see the image is there. Okay, now if you go back to the storage, I want to check if there are 2 images here. So here you can see we have only the new image that we've created. So means that the delete functionality works fine here. So it just delete that old image, and then it assign the new path to the validated image and also to the current image as well. So this works fine. So that's how easy you can just do the profile image upload on your Livewire starter kit authentication system. So this is how easy you can just do that functionality. So on the next session, we are going to see how you are going to log your users activity. So for now, let's see you on the next session. Okay, so in this section, we are going to look on how you are going to track your users activities. So for example, in your Laravel 12 application, you may want to track when your users logged into the system, when do they log out, let's say when do they update their profiles, then you want to track all the activities. So you may even track other activities that are not related to authentications. So for example, you want to track which user update what data. So you can use the same approach that I'm going to show you right now, so that you can be able to do that. So before going deeper on how to implement it, I want to show you something. So when you visit the authentication section in Laravel 12 documentation, down here you will see there is events, and from here you can see Laravel dispatches a variety of events during the authentication process. You may define listeners for any of the following events. So since Laravel dispatch these events automatically, which are built-in events, so we don't need to use even to create our custom events for authentication system. So what we are going to do, we want to be able to listen to these events. So when, let's say, a user is attempting to log into the system, or let's say when the user is logging, so we want to log the user details for that event. So when the user login, we want to track it. So when the user logged in, and if they log out, so we want to know when do they log out to the system. So we want to, maybe we can track even when do they reset their passwords. So for now, I'll just show you the login and also the logout, and then I'll show you the other custom event that you can use to track your users' activities. So without wasting any time, let's go direct and start to create listeners. So I'll just use this approach of using listeners to listen to these events. So I'll show you how to log those in a simple way. So the first thing will be to create the listeners. I'll just first thing I'll just run again npm run dev, and then here I can create a listener. So I can just say php @ make listener, then I'll say event. So this is a flag for specific mention the event that you want to log. So for example, here I'll start by this one with the login. So I'll just put here the login and then enter. So this will create a new listener for this specific event. So I'll just show you how this will work. Alright, so this will ask you the name of the event. So I'll just say login event listener. So you can name it the way you want. Alright, so you can see this is our new event that has been created. So it will be on app listeners, then login event listener.php. So here you will see this directory was not found here before. So when you just run this command, so this directory will be created automatic. And now this is our new created listener, and you can see here the event that has been added. You can see this is the event. So we need to change this one because this is not just the event. This should be reference the event of authentication. So we need to reference to this one. So illuminate auth events then login. So that is the event that we are going to pass as a parameter on our handle method. So on our constructor, I'll not pass anything because we are just listening for that event. So here you can just listen for that event. So for example, I can use the log. So let me just use the facade, and then I can say info, and then I can say, let's say the user logged in, and from this event that we have passed here, we can access the user that has been logged in. So because if you visit this one, you see here you have access to the authenticated user. So from there, here is why you see from event I'm accessing the object of the logged in user, and then I can get the user ID. So you can see this is the user ID. I can get the guard, but this is not necessary. I'll just remove it. So for example, I can just do the following. Here I can just say IP address, okay, and then I'll get the user IP address from the request then IP. So this is the helper function that will help you to get the IP address. And then you can also, let's say, store the timestamp as like this. So this is, I believe this will be just a simple way to log. So for now, let's try to log in again, and then let's see if this will work. So for now, let's go to the storage, and let's clean up the Laravel log file. Okay, so now we will need to make sure if the event will be dispatched. So when it will be dispatched, we expect this listener to be triggered. So when it will be triggered, then this will be the logged in information. So let's see if this works. So for now, let's go to the system. So right here, let's log out. All right, now let's log in again. So this is our login form. Now let's log in. Now you can see we've logged in successfully. Now let's go to the file. Now you can see we have this a new logged in information. So you can see the time, okay, and then you can see the user logged in. Oh, sorry, I was explaining this one. So this is the user logged in. So you can see the user ID is 2. The IP address is this one because I'm doing it on my local machine. Then you can see the timestamp, and also you can see on timestamp we have the date, including the time where that user has logged in. So this is the first way that you can log your details. But for example, when you wanted to extend this to a more sophisticated way, you can just log these details on your database. So for example, when you want to store this so that you can be able to audit your users, or you want to track those details in a long time of period, it's better to use the database instead of this log file, because in log file you'll find even when the system goes into an error, so the errors will be stored here on your log file, so it will not be easy for you to track the user logs. So for that instance, we will need to store that information in your database. So what I'll do, I'll just create a new model. So I'll just say PHP artisan make model, and then I'll say user activity log. Then I'll go to the migration tool. Right, so now let's go to that model and update it. So here, what I'll do, I'll just say, yeah, basically this is Fine. So here we'll have the user ID, we'll have the activity type. So I'll show you how to add this activity type, the IP address and the timestamp. And then we'll have the relationship to our user, because the user will be logging to our system. And then let me just remove this one. Alright, so this will be our simple model. So that's how it will look like if you want to see how it is. So this will be an easiest way you can set up this model. And then on your listener, so you can log in, you can log this way, and also down here you can log through the database. So through the database you can use this way. Okay, so then let's uncomment this one, and then let's import this class. All right, so that's how easy you can just log that details. So for now, let's try to migrate our table. So php add migrate. Right, so our database now will have that table. So if you go to the database, let's log in. Okay, now you can see we have the user activity logs. So, oh, I forgot to update the migration, so sorry. Let's go to user activity logs. So from here we have user ID, which will be a constraint to users table. Then we have the activity type, we have IP address, and also we have the timestamp. So let me just do this. Okay, so I believe that one will work fine. Okay, so now what I'll do, because when you go to your database here on your migrations, if you select here, you see, so this table has been migrated in batch 3. So what we will do, we will just roll back this migration, and then we will migrate it again. So what I'll do, I'll just say php add migrate, then roll back, because I want these new changes to be reflected on my database. So I'll just unmigrate by rolling back, and then I will migrate again. So I just say, I just put here the flag of batch, and then I'll mention the batch, which is 3, as I've shown you here. So then I'd say enter, and then now you go back here, you will not see that table. So let's refresh, and you cannot see that table here. So then now we can be able to migrate it. Okay, now it has been migrated successfully. And then if you refresh again, now you can see the activity logs here, and you can see the new changes have been reflected successfully. So now what we need to do is to try if this works as we expected. So now let's go back here, and now let's try to log out and log in again. All right, now we expect our table to have that data. All right, now you can see the user with ID 2, the activity was login, the IP address was this one, the timestamp was that one. So this works fine, and also in your logs you can see also the data was updated. So now the next step will be to log for the activity for logout. So what we'll do, we'll just create another listener for logout. So here it will be log out. Okay, so I'll just say user logout listener. Okay, and then on that listener, let's go and update it. So logout listener, and this one should not be just this event, should be the event from authentication. So this one, okay, import it, and now it will look like this way. And now here, let's redo it again. So we'll log it on the log. which is our log file, and then we need to log it in our model. So let's import that table, and then here the activity type will be logout. So that is the only information that will change for now. So if you want to log other details, more details, you can just update the migration, you can update the model, and then you can be able to update those details here. So for now, if we have this in step, so now let's try to log out and see if that information will be logged. Okay, so now let's try to log out. Okay, now let's go back here. Now you can see the activity was logged out. You can see the time, and you can see the information that we have logged. Okay, so those were the events that are found here on the Laravel authentication. So these are dispatched automatically. So now I want to show you how you can, let's say, log other activities that are not associated with the authentication. So let's say you want just to log an event when just a user will log in. So for example, when a user log in here, and when a user will update their image. So when the user update the image, I want to show you how you can log that by using a custom event. So you just create a custom event, and then you create a listener for it. So now let me show you that. So here I'll clear my terminal. I'll say php @make event, and then the name of the event will be user updated profile image. Okay, so now here I'll have another new directory which is called events, and then inside it I'll find this our new event which is called user updated profile image. So this will only be dispatched when the user update their images. So here you will see it as the body cast on, which will be usable if when you want to dispatch those events to your front end frameworks. If you use let's say Vue, or you want to use it in a Livewire on the front end way, so you can use the broadcast. But for now, we will just focus on the constructor, because I want just to get the details of the logged in user, and then I want to share it with the listener, because this event acts as just a container for the event details. So now I'll just pass here the details of our user. So I'll just say, okay, so I'll just say public key user, and here I'll just say this user will be equals to the authenticated user. Okay, then I'll just import this one, the facade one. Okay, let me remove that one and then import the facade one, this one, and then I'll import the user. Okay, so now this is how it will look like, and now we need to create a new listener for that event. So here I'll just change the name of the event, so we'll just give it the name of our new created event, which is this one. So I can just copy that one, and then I'll paste it here, and then I'll say enter. So the name of the listener will be profile image listener. Okay, and now on our listener we will have a new listener, which is this one, and then from here then we can log that data. So we can just say log, we can just say for, let's say, user update the profile image, and then we can log that in our database. So what we'll do, we'll say user activity log, and then we are going to create and then here we will just add the user ID from the event, and then we will add the activity type, which will be this one, the IP address, and then the time. But you can log even the other details if you want, let's say the path of the new image or something else, so you can just log them here. So this is just a basic and a simplest way that you can do it. All right, so now what we need to do, so in order for this event to be dispatched, so which is this one, in order for this event to be dispatched, so we want to go to the profile. So when the user will be updating their profile is when we are going to dispatch that event. So let's go to the Livewire settings, then profile. So here we are going to see where the image will be updated. So it's right here. All right, so you can see this is where the image will be updated if the new image will be uploaded. So after uploading there, so here we can just dispatch the event. So we can just say user, the name of our event is, let me check again, user updated profile image, and then we are going to use the helper function of dispatch, and then we are going to pass the name, I mean the user that we have here, because we have the user right here. Okay, so that will be the user that we are going to pass down here. All right, so it will be like this way. Okay, so here is where that event will be dispatched. So when this event will be dispatched, actually it will trigger the listener, which is our profile image listener, which is this one, and then from this listener we are going to get the event, which will be the object that contain our user, and then we will get those details for that specific user, and then we will log it in our database. So now let's go back to the system. Okay, refresh, and now let's try to update the image. So let's change it from that one, let's say, to this one. Okay, so that is larger. So let's go back here. Let me try another image. Let me try this one. Okay, and then after that, let's save. Okay, so after being saved, now let's check on our database. Now you can see profile image updated, and you can see the details have been logged in successful. You can also check on your log file. So let's go to the log file here, and here you can see we have something there. So this is what I was explaining. So you see these are where the errors that I was saying. So it will be hard for you to track, but down here you will see the user updated profile image. So that's how easy you can just log your activity of your users. So you are not stopped to track other activities, so you can just log other activities rather than these that are associated with the authentication. So you can log other activities like who updated what data and so on. So see you on the next session, where we are going to see on how you are going to track your users' sessions. All right, so on this section, basing on session tracking of your users, I will just show you a simplest way that you can track your users' session. And from here on your database, you can see when you create your Laravel 12 application on your database, from the migrations or the default migration that will be created, the sessions will be one of among the default migration that will be created. So this will be the table that will be created automatically in your database when you run your first migration. So we have this table called the sessions. It has the ID, which will be the primary. It has the user ID, so it will be the ID of the user that has that session. We have the IP address, user agent, the payload for that specific session, and lastly the last activity that was done by that user. So when we want to control or manage those sessions for our users on your system. So for example, in our application right here, so we can have a link here that will be directing us to the page where we can see the sessions for that specific user that has logged in. So I'll just show you a simple quick way of doing it. So the first step will be to create a Livewire component. So I'll just create a Livewire component. So I'll say PHP artisan make Livewire, then say sessions, then session manager. So this will be the name of my component, and this will be the directory that component will be found. So here you will see I have a new directory called the sessions, and then inside it I'll have this new component. So from this component I'll just define two of the public properties. So I'll just say public property, which will be called the current session ID, and then I'll have the public actually sessions, which will be an empty array, and then I'll have a public mount function. So I'll say public function mount. Okay, and here I just want to initialize the current session ID and also the sessions. So for the sessions, I just want to create another function that will be used to get the sessions. So I'll just say get sessions. So this will search all the sessions from the database. So here I'll just say this, then sessions. So this will be from the database, but remember this table does not have a model, which I've shown you in a minute. So this one, it does not have the model. So if it does not have the model, so we can just use this way to get the data. So I'll just say sessions. So the name of our table is sessions. Okay, and then we can just get those events where user ID is equal to the logged in user, and then we are going to order by the last activity because we want to get the latest activity, and then we are going to get those information. And then I want to import this DB, which is our facade, that will help us to get those details from that specific table. So for now, if I show you here, so this function will be called here. So this will be triggered here, and then so from here we can just check, we can just dump those sessions and see how it looks like. So now let's register this one on our web, so as a new route. So I'll just say sessions, and you can see here it will reference our new created component, and here I'll pass the middleware for authentication, and then I'll give it a name. So this route will have the name, so I'll name it as sessions, and then I can just say middleware, so that the unauthenticated users cannot access this page. Okay, so for now let's try to add this one on our sidebar of our application, because we have the sidebar right here. So I just want to add it, or I can just put it here, so I can add it on here. So before doing that, let me just keep it here, and then now let's go to the because if you see this page, So this the settings page. It is created by different components. So we have the profile component, we have the password and the appearance components. So all of these components, as you can see from here, Livewire, then you can see from settings. So we have these components. So how these components work, you can see from the resource here. When you go to Livewire, then in settings. So if we start with this one, so you can see you need to include these layouts. So these are the layouts that you need to include. So you can see from the profile here, you see you need to include this one. All right. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this heading, which will be the layout. And actually we need to have the settings layout. So what I'll do, I'll just copy it from here. Okay, and then I'll come here on sessions, and then I'll paste it here. So we need to close those two. So the first one will be the settings layout, and the last one will be the section. Okay, so after concluding those two, now let's change this one to be sessions, and then here I'll just say manage. Okay, now let's do this way. Manage your sessions. Okay, so I guess this one will look fine. And now what we need to do, we need to add that route in this heading. So now let's see from settings layout. Okay, so from the settings layout, you can see we have the profile, password, and the appearance. Now let's copy and paste here, and then we are going to add the sessions. So let's say sessions, which is the name of our route here that we've added. So this is the name of the route, and then from the sessions here, now let's say sessions. So I believe this will work fine. Now let's refresh. Now we have the sessions, and now from here you can see it has pulled some of the data, because we are on our session manager here, we dumped those data here. But now let me go back here and refresh, and now you can see manage your sessions. So this is the page that I've shown you here. So this is the sessions, then you manage your sessions. So this will be the page that we will see all our sessions, and we can be able to manage the sessions. So now I'll just paste the code that I've just created, just a simple HTML code with Tailwind CSS styling. So I'll just paste it here. So let me just paste it here. So the first thing to paste it here, it will be actually it will be the alert. So this alert will be used to show the message when the session will be let's say cleared or destroyed. So we'll just want to show a success message for our user. And then the next thing, now let's paste the actual code here. Okay, and then let me check again on my page. So now you can see this is how it looks like. So you can see it shows the IP address. So this will be the IP address. You can see the user agent, and you can see the last activity was on 25 seconds ago. Okay, so now let me just show you what I've done here on my code. Now let me zoom back like this way, and then here you can see on this div that I've imported or pasted, you can see if there is empty sessions. So if sessions are empty, we will show no other active sessions found. Okay, and then if else, means that if the sessions is not empty, so this else will run. So here we have the unordered list, and then from that unordered list I have this for each loop. So this for each loop will run through all the sessions that we've generated from here. So it will run through all sessions here, and then we will create this object, and then from that object is where we can be able to access the IP address. So this is the IP address that you see on the page right here. So you can see the IP address. Also we have the user agent, which is this one. We have the user agent like this one, and then we have the last activity. So the last activity actually I've just created from timestamp by using the carbon, and then you can see I've just passed the last activity, and then use the div for humans, is it will show us the formatted time like this way. So that's how easy you can just do it on that way. Okay, and here you can see this will just show if the current session ID will be equal to the session ID. So for now I have just not shown you how to get the current session ID. So now let me just show you. So let's go back to the session here, and here say current session ID, and then we will get it from the session helper function. So from here we'll just get the ID, and then we will assign it to the current session ID. So now if we go back here and try to refresh, now you can see the current session will be shown. But if I remove this one, you'll see, so this current session will be gone. So now this shows that this works as expected. So now you can see, so this is the session, but what I want to show you here, for example, this is the user that have been logged into the system. So we can just try to log in with the same user but on another device. So I'll just use another browser. So here I'll just log in. So I'll just say use my email and password, and you can see I've just logged in successful. So now if we go back to the first user here and try to refresh, now you can see we have this another session, and you can see here I'm using Microsoft Edge. So this is the another activity that we have created, and this is the current activity, I mean all the current session that we have through this Chrome. But if we go here and access that page through Microsoft Edge, now here you can see this the Edge one will be the current session. So that's how easy you can just do that. So now let's implement the logout other session button. So when you click this one, it will log out other sessions, and it will just leave this the current session. So to do so, here we need to have another public function. So we'll just say public function destroy other sessions. So we'll just use something like this. So what it will do, it will just go to the table, which is our sessions table, and then from there it will just get the user ID. So the user ID will be the ID of the logged in user, and then from there we are going to exclude the ID of the current ID. So here, instead of passing the session ID, so this session ID will be the current session ID. So instead of passing it as a parameter right here, so let me just remove it, and then I'll just say this, then current session ID, means that we are going to exclude the current session ID of the logged in user, and then we are going to delete all other sessions that are relating to this specific user. So that's how easy you can just do that. And then after that, we are going to recall all the sessions, and then we can just flash a message. So we can say other sessions have been successfully terminated. So now let me just show you quickly how to do that. And now let's refresh, because when you go to this session manager, so this button right here, you can see, so it has a wire click, so it has this name of the method, so that should be the name of this method too. So I'll just update it so that when you click this button here, it will just call this method. So it will ask you to confirm that if you want to log out to other sessions. So now if I go back and refresh, and now I click this one, you can see, are you sure you want to log out of all other sessions? So I'll just say okay, and now you can see other sessions have been successfully terminated, and you can see here we have only the current session. So here, if you go back here and refresh, this will log out you automatically. Why? Because the session for this device will be deleted automatically, and only it will exclude this one. So this is how easy you can just let your users to control their sessions. So if they want to log out to other devices and only be active on one of their devices, so this is how easy you can just help them to track their sessions. So after saying that, see you on the next session, where we are going to see on how you are going to be able to suspend the accounts of your users. So see you on the next session. Alright, so on the session of how you are going to suspend your users' accounts, before going deeper on that session, I want to show you how you can add custom error pages in your Laravel application. So in order for you to be able to add a custom page, so for example, let's assume your user visit a page that is not found on your system. Let's say users then list. So this link or this route is not existing on our application. So when user will visit this, they will get this default Laravel page, which is 404, and you can see the message will be not found. So how can you create a custom error page like this? So we want to change this one. Let's say, for example, if you go to Playline UI, mostly I like to use this because it gives you most of the components that are already made, so you can just use them on your systems. And it is crafted by using Tailwind CSS, so this will be more useful for us. So now, for example, you will come here on the miscellaneous components, and you can see we have the 404 page sample like this. So now what I'll do, you can see the code, so it has just a div and it has the content and the footer. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this page, and when I go to my system here, this is my code. So from the code, I'll go inside the resources, and then inside the resources, I'll go inside the views, and then from the views, I'll create a new directory, and then I'll call it errors. Okay, and then inside the errors, I'll create a new file called 404.blade.php. So you can create more error pages as you wish. So for example, you can add another one for, let's say, 500.blade.php. Okay, so now let's work on this one. So here, because our page does not have the HTML tag, so I'll add the HTML tag first, and then inside it I'll paste my code. So now you can see I have this one, and you can see clearly that this will be just here. I can just say 404, then I can put something like this, then not found. Okay, and then after that I'll add here the compiled JavaScript and the CSS, which is our assets. So I'll copy it from welcome page. So from welcome page here, basically you can just add it to, you can see from the documentation here of Playline UI, it's just easy. You can just do something like this. From framework guides, if you visit the Laravel one, so you need to do something like that. And then after you've installed the Pillar UI, because now I don't want to install Pillar UI, that's why I come here and I'll copy these links for Vite. So this will be the bundled assets, and then I'll add it here on my 404 page up here on our header. So I'll put it here. Okay, after that, let me go back to my page, and then let's run npm run dev. So let me run it again. All right, now let's go back to the system. Let's refresh the page. And now we can see the header here. And now you can see we have the 404, and then here you can see something went wrong, so we couldn't find your page. So here you can just add the link so that when user will click here, it will be directed back to the home page. So what I'll do, I'll just come here, and on this link here, I'm going to say this way, okay, and when the user will click that one, then they will be directed back to the welcome page. So when you click there, you can see the user will be redirected here. So that's how easy you can just implement that. So after doing so, now we will go to the session of how you are going to suspend your users. So what I've showed you now, we will use it in the account suspension, because we will add a middleware that will check if your user's account is suspended. Then that user will be redirected to a custom page which we will add, and then that user will be logged out automatically. So that's how easy you can just implement this, and that's why I showed you how to add the custom error pages in your system. But you can add more other custom error pages for other errors that you know. So for example, you can add for 403, and you can add different pages or different page styles. So I've just showed you this just to give you a foundation for that. And then now let's start to work on account suspension. Okay, so when you suspend your users' accounts, we expect when the user with that specific account that will be suspended, when they will try to log into the system, they will be redirected to the custom page, which will show them or give them information that the account has been suspended and they should contact the support team. So I'll do that by first of all starting with the adding a column which will act as a flag for our database. So when you go to the users, if you visit your database again, when you visit your users table, so here we need to add a flag column that will help us to track if that account has already been suspended. So what I'll do, then I'll start by creating a migration. So php @sun make migration, then I'll give it a name. Okay, and then I'll say add is suspended column users table. Okay, so this will create a new migration file, and then let's edit that migration file, which is this one. And then here we'll add a boolean field, so let's say table. Okay, and here I'll say will track also when the account was suspended. So this will help you to track, so like when the account was suspended and when it will be activated again, then you can put this one to null. So I'll just drop those column here if they exist. And now let's try to migrate. So php @sun migrate. Okay, so now if you visit again your table, now you have the is suspended, and also you have the suspended at. So now in our application we need to add a single Livewire component which will show us the list of all registered user in our system. So now let's try to create that component. So clear my terminal, php @sun make Livewire. Then I'll say, because it will come to live inside the Livewire, so I want to create a directory called users, and then inside that I'm going to say manage users. Okay, and then after that let's first register that component in our routes. So here I'm going to say route, then I'll say manage users, manage users. Okay, so this will be the name of our link or the route. So now let me copy that name and I'll go to the sidebar because I'm using sidebar layout. So here on sidebar, below the home page, I'll put here another link which will add the users. That will be the icon, and then the link, it should be here. So you need to change on the route and also on this current, because this will check if that is the current link, then it will highlight it on the sidebar. And then here I'll say manage users. And then now if we go back to the page and refresh, actually let me run again npm run dev because I didn't run it now. So npm okay. So here we have manage users, and when you visit that one, you can see right now it is blank. So now on that page, I want us to start by creating the list of users. So let me just start by going to the manage users, which is our component class, and then from here I'm going to say public users. That can be an empty array, and then here I'll say public mount, but instead of calling it directly from here, I'll just create another function called load users, and then that function is the one that I'll call it here. So I'll say load users. Okay, so now we have the list of users here, so we want to show it on our blade file here. So to do so, I will just paste some of the code, which is a blade file. It's just a simple file that I've created in order for us to not waste more time on styling that page. So I'll just paste it in right now. So I'll just remove this one and then I'll paste this code. Okay, so as you can see, this is a table section and it has that div. On that div I have a header, so this header starts from there up to here. So you can see this is the header. We have the table, which is this one. So from the header you have this heading, that shows that this is the users table, our page. And then you have this simple paragraph that shows that you can add user, edit, and more. And also you have the button to add a new user. Then from there, let me collapse that, and then you expand this one. Then on the table, we have the name of that user. So we can see we have the table, we have the table header, then we have the table row. Inside the table row, we have the table heading. So we can see we have those columns. Actually, these are the header columns. So you can see we have the name, email, we have the created, which will show the time that user has been created. Then this one will be an empty table heading so that we can show the actions. And then we have the table body here. So you can see this is the table body, and inside it we have if condition that checks if we have any user on that users table. So I mean on this public key property here. So if the count is greater than 0, then we are going to run a for each loop, which will run through this table row. And inside this table row, I forgot to add one thing, which is wire key. This is helpful when you Livewire needs to track if there will be any changes on your users. So let's say users, user, then ID. So this will help Livewire to track any changes that will happen in your listing. And then we have the table body that shows the name of our user, which is this one. We have this one for email. As you can see, it shows email, and we have this one for date, which I've passed the created at inside the pass function of carbon, and then I've formatted it to show the day, month, year, and also the hours and the minutes. Okay, and here I have a button to suspend. So this button has not been implemented on anything. So now let's go back to the page. Okay, and here it shows that I have this error. So let me just see what is happening here. Okay, I believe that happens here on this. Yeah, so let's remove this one because we don't have any route for adding new users, and I will not show you how to add a new user. So basically I'll just show you how to suspend those users. So I'll just remove that. Just remove that method, and now this will work fine. And now you can see we have the list of users that are found on our system right now. So you can see this is the button, but it doesn't have anything, and this is the buttons for suspending your users. So now what will happen, I just want to add some more users on our database. So I'll just go to the database seeder, and then from here I'll just comment this one, and I'll uncomment this to add 10 more users from the users factory. So I'll just say php at some db seed. Okay, so you can see now the seed has done. So now let's go to the database, and now from the table you can see we have this list of users. So now if we refresh again our page, now you can see we have that list of users. So we have added 10 more users here. So you can see the date is there, their emails, and their names. So now we want to implement when user will click this one, we want to show that user has been suspended, and here this will change to unsuspend. So or activate that account. So what will happen here on action, which is this one. So what you can do here, we can just have an if condition because we have already added that is suspended field on your database. So we'll just have an if condition here. Use if, then I'll use this one. So if user then is suspended, let's say you can just say if equals true. Okay, so if equals to true, then you can just show the unsuspend, or you can just say activate, and on else here you can just add something like suspend. Okay, so this will be suspend. Okay, and I want to change the colors, so activate this one, I want to be green in color, so this one will be green. Also here it will be green. All right, so now that's how it will look like. Now I want to implement two methods on your component, so I'll just say wire, then click. So when this button will be clicked, I want to call a method called the activate account. Then I'll pass the user ID, so that will be the ID of our user, and then I'll do the same thing for suspend. So copy that, and then I'll add it here, and this will be suspend account. So for consistency, let me put a small letter here. It should be account activate account, then suspend account. Okay, so now here you just not see anything. So now when you click this one, it will give you error because that method is not created yet. So now let's go to the component, which is this one, and then now let's try to create that account. So here I'll create a public function suspend account, and it will accept the ID. Actually, I'll just call it ID, which will be the user's ID, and then inside it I'll find that user, so it will be user, then user model, and then I'll find that ID, and if that user exists, now let's save. But before you save, we need also to update the timestamp, so I'll just say user, then suspended at, it should be now. Okay, and then after that we need to refresh the list of our users. So here I'll just close that, and then I'll say on else we can just show a session flash, but also here we want to show a session flash, say that the account has been suspended automatically or successfully, and then if that user is not found, then we can show the error message that that user is not found. Okay, so to show that error message here, I will just copy the one that I used on sessions. So I'll use this one. So let me copy it, and then I'll put it up here, because now this is how it looks like. So now I just want to show that message is up here. So this is the header. So above that card is right here, so let me put it here, and now you can see if session has a message, then okay, let me update this a little bit. So what I'll do, I just change something here. So instead of just having that session, so I just want to use session has success. Then that's where we are going to show that success message. So here I'll say session get then a message. Okay, so this will be for the success, and then I just want to show the one for error. So if it happens there is any error. Okay, so if there is an error, then we need to get that message, but this should change from green to red. Okay, yeah, so now I believe this will work fine. And now let's try to start by adding the added field here on the model of our user. So add the is suspended and also the suspended at field. Okay, and now after adding those two fields, now let's try to optimize PHP as optimize. You can just use optimize clear in order to clear all the cached configurations and everything. And now let's go to the page, refresh. So this takes some time because when you run PHP at Sunny Optimize Clear, so it clears all the cached configurations and everything from the database, because right now Laravel is configured that the actually the cache will be database. So that's why you see it took some time to load. So now it is done. Now let's try to suspend the account of this first user. So suspend. Okay, so we don't see anything. Now let's see from the database. And let's check from that field. So it is empty, means that nothing has happened. And what we are going to do, so this is called the suspend account. Let's see from here. So this should be suspend account. So let me just put here prevent. Okay, now let's see. Now let's try to click this one. So no such column called this one. Okay, so there is error on here. So this is should be suspended at. Okay, so now let's refresh again. Now let's try. Okay, so you can see nothing has shown there. So let's see. Session flash users, then from here I think we need to get success. Here, so now let's try to refresh. So from the database, so this one is already suspended, and here still we have option to suspend. So let's check why that is happening. So user is suspended equals to true. Let's put 1 here and let's see. Yeah, so this works. So now let's try to suspend another account. So for example, now you can see user suspended successful, and here you can see this has changed the automatic. So you can do that to other accounts, and you can see the flash message is shown and the accounts are being suspended. So now let's see, for example, for this user, if they try to log in to the system. So let's try to log in, and then you put the password, and now you can see they still be able to log into the system. So what happens is because we don't have a way to prevent these users from logging to the system. So what we'll do, I'll just add a simple middleware. So I'll just create a middleware, PHP @make middleware. So I'll call it check account suspension. Okay, so check account suspension. So from this account, I mean from this middleware, I'll check if that user is logged in, and then from there I'll check if that user is suspended. So what I'll do, I'll just redirect them. Actually, I can just log them out. So to log them out, you can just use this way from Laravel actually. So I'll just copy this one, and I'll just paste it here. Instead of this comment, I'll just paste it there, and then I'll close those brackets, and then squeeze those inside. Then let's import this one, the facade one. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm checking if that user has already authenticated, and then after that we check if that user is suspended. So this, if it returns true, then we redirect our user to this page instead of allowing them to log in. So now let me just refresh. No, so we need to register this middleware. So what we will do, you need to go to the bootstrap here, and then from app, now here inside the middleware, so you need to say middleware, then append, because I want to append that middleware so that it can be able to be tracked consistently on whenever the HTTP request will be sent on your server. So this will be checked on every HTTP request. So what I'll do then, let me just add it here. So after that, append, now pass the name of your middleware. So the name of our middleware is called check account suspension, and then a class. Okay, so this means will be called on every HTTP request that you will be running on your system. So now let's go back to the, before that, let's optimize. And here we can see we have logged out the user, then we have invalidated the session, and also we have regenerated the session token, and then we have redirected that user to the welcome page. So now let's go back here and try to refresh again. Okay, and then now let's see. Oh, so here we have an error, but you can see still the user has been able to access this page. So I believe this has something to do with how we registered this one. So instead of appending it, let me just use the web. So now let me try again and see if that okay. You can now see the user has been logged out automatically. So you can see we can just try to log in again, test here at example, and then log in. But now you can see still the user has been able was not able to access the dashboard, and you can see they still see the welcome page. So this means that middleware is working perfectly, but I've just updated one thing here. So instead of just user check, I've just also added this condition, and after checking that condition we continue with how we were doing here. So what I want to do next is to add another custom page for showing that the account has been suspended. So what I'll do here, I'll just say return, then abort. Now I'll say, let's say your account has been suspended, then please contact the support page. So now let's try that and see what happens. Now let's try to log in. Now you can see we have this error, as you can see. So it has that error message, which is a status code, and then here we have the message that we have passed there. So what happens now? Okay, now the user has been able to access the dashboard, but they will not be able to see anything because we have already aborted the authentication. Now you can see we've blocked them from accessing anything else on our system. So whenever they will try, let's say, to visit the page of accessing the list of our users, they will not be able to access that page. So for example, if they try to visit this page, so for example, if they try to visit that page, you can see they are being logged out automatically. So now I want us to create a new error message for that 403 because we've just shown that error message here. So when the user tries to log in, then you can see they are being redirected to this page. So we want to add the custom error page for that, for 403 actually. So what I'll do on here, I'll just update this one and I'll name it to 403, and then I'll just copy this code from here, from 404, and then I'll paste inside here, and I will change this one to 403, and then this, instead of brand, I'll just say home. Okay, and then what I'll do next, this one, so this should be 403. So something went wrong, and then here we can just say, we can just show that error message that we used on our middleware, which is this one actually. So now let's copy this message, and then you can use it here. Okay, now this should be back home, same way to this one, it should be back home. And now let's try again. Now refresh. Now test at example, then password. Now you can see 403. Your account has been suspended. Please contact support for assistance. So that's how easy. If you click there, you can see they are redirected back to this page. So now that's how easy you can just do that. So now let's work on how you are going to actually to activate the account of the suspended user. So Okay, so now here from the list of users, for these accounts that have been suspended, you can just reactivate them back. So to do so, I'll just add that functionality on the manage users. So we have the suspend account method. Now let's add the public function. Let's say activate account. So basically we are going to have something like this. So we are going to find that account, that is the ID that will be passed right here, or here on the activate. You can see we have this ID of that specific user that we passed down. So we are going to find it from the users table, and then if that user is found, then we are going to set it to false, and then we are going to set this one to null, and then we are going to save that data. Then after that, we are going to refresh the list of our users, and then we are going to say user account activated successful. So now let's go back here, refresh again, and now let's try to activate this one, and now you can see the user account activated successfully. And now let's go back to this user and try to log in again, and now let's try to log in. Swed. Okay, now you can see the user has been able to log into the dashboard. What is happening with dashboard? Yeah, so this is the common issue with dashboard. So let's see from the web .php dashboard. Yeah. Okay. Now let's PHP add sunny clear. And now let's try to refresh again. Yep. So now you can see the dashboard is working fine now. So you can see the user has been able to log in, because here the account has been activated again. So when you will suspend it, and here if the user try to refresh, you can see they are being redirected here and they can go here. And then if you try to activate it again, and now if that user logged, so let's try to log in again. So here you can just log in, and you can see the user has been able to access the dashboard page. So this is how easily you can just do that. But now you can see even this user has been able to access this page of managing users, which is actually wrong. If you wanted to have more control on that, you need to introduce the user role-based accessibility. So on the next video, I'll show you how to add the roles and permission on your authentication system. So it's not on this video actually. So on the next video, I'll show you how to do so by adding the roles, how you are going to manage those roles, how to assign a role to a user, how to how to create permissions, and then assign those permissions to that user, to that role. And then if you assign that role to a specific user, then that user will have that specified access to the specified resource. So I'll just show you that on next videos. So for this video, I think we have reached the end, and I believe you guys have learned something new. And if you find that this video is useful, please like it, share, and consider to subscribe if you are new to the channel. So see you on the next videos.